Clay Patton on the Rural Radio Network here with your Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Report for the week ending March the 4th. Moline Seed and Fence is proud to sponsor the Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Report. Moline Seed and Fence is your local dealer for Riviera custom gates, goat and sheep pens, along with Mountain View sheep and goat equipment. Check out all their products at MolineSeedandFence.com. That's MolineSeedandFence.com. For the week ending March 4th, the Midwest Sheep and Goat Market continues its upward trajectory. Light to midweight slaughter goats saw the biggest bump in prices in general this week. The broad base increase, $15 to $20 a hundredweight, albeit there's instances, though, you see these slaughter goats $30 to $40 a hundredweight higher, so a very, very strong demand and market there. Midweight to some cases, heavy slaughter lambs, both wool and hair lambs, attracted about $15 to $20 higher as well. Holding fairly steady on the week is your coal livestock, though. We didn't see really any coal does, ewes, anything like that make too dramatic of a shift. They held in there pretty good. And, breeding livestock pretty light this week in terms of receipts that I found, but we'd call that market basically steady for that part of it as well. With that, though, you look at it, it's again light to midweight slaughter stock that's bringing these bigger prices. That all really seems to be a ethnic-driven market. We got some holidays coming up, so I don't want to sound pessimistic, but it does maybe look like we've only got a couple weeks where we could see this type of strength in the market before we start in that spring seasonal where we start a slow downtrend, then into the summer lows before we start picking up next fall. Now, on those ethnic holidays, Passover, April 15th to the 23rd, Ramadan, April 2nd to May 1st, Roman Easter, April 17th, and Greek Easter, April 24th. So again, not to be overly pessimistic on this one, but I don't see these prices holding for maybe more than 2 to 3 weeks. So just one thing to bear in mind. Now, in terms of other data out this week, USDA has released their latest data for cold storage, commercial cold storage in February. The report showed that from December to January, the U.S. saw little change in U.S. lamb held in commercial cold storage at just over 26.4 million pounds. That is up, though, 21% or about 5 million pounds from where it was a year ago. Positive that we're continuing to not grow cold storage month over month, but that we just saw that big growth from last year. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen once we get down into that April, into that May cold storage report with these holidays coming up. If we actually pull out of that cold storage and help to thin those numbers up a little bit, I think that's going to really help show that we've got some very strong consumer demand here in the U.S. because we've been running a higher kill this year as well. Those carcass weights and stuff holding out fairly steady. So you keep that in mind. We're actually increasing overall production, but we're not sending that to cold storage. We're getting that out into the economy. And given the fact that the U.S. dollar index has been higher, that's actually a little bit better for importers right now. They've got a more aggressive reach to go out there and get that product brought in. So I think that's a really good number to highlight here, that the fact that we haven't built that cold storage, I think it's a very positive sign for us overall. Now, if you want to talk other proteins in their cold storage, just for a simple comparison, we saw pork see a 57% increase in cold storage from last year. Beef saw a modest 2% decline year over year. Let's jump into what we really want to hear. Those are the highlighted quotes on the week. We start here at Columbus Sales Pavilion, Columbus, Nebraska. They had a set of 57-pound wool feeder lambs bring $300 a hundredweight, $171 a head. Colby Livestock, Colby, Kansas, sold 91 head, one draft, 58-pound slaughter goats, $400 a hundredweight for the entire draft. One money, in and out the ring, $232 a head. Centennial Livestock, Colorado, 161 head of 118-pound wool slaughter lambs, brought $204 a hundredweight. That's a $240 a head average. The upper end of that draft, though, brought $250 a hundredweight, $295 a head. Centennial also sold 108 65-pound hair lambs for $213 a hundredweight. That's $138 a head. The upper end of the draft bringing $250 a hundredweight or $163 a head. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock sold 267 head of 137-pound slaughter lambs for $144 a hundredweight or $197 a head. Sioux Falls also sold 53 head of 2 to 4-year-old running age ewes that were exposed. They sold for $196 a head average. Upper end of those ewes, though, brought $205 a head. Sioux Falls also sold 21 head of 2 to 4-year-old bred goat does. They weighed 160 pounds, so they were some fleshy girls. They brought $253 a head average. Upper end of the draft, though, brought $275. Kelowna, Iowa topped the market here in these slaughter goats. 34 head, 63-pound slaughter goats, $434 a hundredweight average for $274 a head. The upper end of them, though, brought $460 a hundredweight. That's $290 a head. Now, Producers Livestock, San Angelo, Texas, sold 504 head of 55-pound hair lambs for $305 a hundredweight or $168 a head average. The upper end of the draft bringing $324 a hundredweight or $178 a head. Producers also sold 163 head of 62-pound slaughter goats for $388 a hundredweight or $241 a head. The upper end of the draft brought $422 a hundredweight or $261 a head. So again, that goat market is hot right now for those light to midweight slaughter goats. Other markets of interest, grain markets mixed overall. We did see a little bit of a pickup for the corn and soybeans into the week. Analysts are hopeful maybe we're starting to put some seasonal lows in for this time of year, but that hasn't been confirmed yet as well. From a supply perspective, Argentina's hot, it's droughty, so that could definitely help to pick prices up. It also helps to apply pressure from the supply perspective, but then on the flip side of that, Brazil is still slowly rolling through their soybean harvest, and they're actually expecting to have a near record crop. The problem is they don't know where they're going to store it, and they're having logistical issues with their poor infrastructure, getting that to the ports, get it onto boats and out of the country. So while that serves its own issue, it's also dropping their prices worldwide. They're able to ship out a lot of product, it looks like, right now. So that isn't helping us. Meanwhile, in the Black Sea, we have the UN and Ukraine inviting Turkey and Russia back to the negotiating table to renew that Black Sea trade agreement. Russia and Turkey have yet to respond, so that puts quite a bit of pressure back on the wheat market once again there as well. There's rumors that the U.S. is considering sanctions against China. That was unfounded on the week, but it's a possibility that was kind of hanging out there. Also within the week, though, there was rumors China was buying large amounts of sorghum and corn. If USDA confirms that with flash sales on this coming week, that could help to pop this grain market. Overall, still kind of looks like maybe we've got a little bit more of a range-bound scenario trying to set up for us here, but livestock feeders doesn't look like we're going to see record low prices anytime soon. Hopefully, though, we're at least not just going to head back up towards those strong high prices. Hay markets in Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, South Dakota, Colorado, and Wyoming were reported steady this week with mixed amounts of demand. Areas in Nebraska that were able to melt off the recent snows, they opened up some winter forage. That got some stock back out in grazing. That helped to slow a little bit. Thought it was interesting, South Dakota and Wyoming, they've still got a lot of snow on the ground, and any available hay supplies, they say, are staying in state right now, as there's guys that are just trying to slog through this to get closer to the greener pastures and grazing season. So thoughts in Kansas and the Southern Plains, they're turning more towards field work. I've been talking with some gentlemen out of Oklahoma, Texas. If they've had some moisture, if they had some wheat established, at least there's a little bit of green to go out and look at. Very, very dry, though, in southwest Kansas, Oklahoma, panhandle of Texas. D3, D4 drought still setting over there, so that is not good going forward, and especially hay producers, livestock producers, it's tough on everybody. So we'll see. There's some moisture on the GFS models for this next week. The northern plains and central plains are really kind of in the bullseye of that. Still have a lot of time for those forecasts, though, to develop. Good quality to supreme later cutting alfalfa, still demanding $275 to $350 a ton. A little bit of that depending on your delivery option, but strong there. Prairie hay, most noted type of grass hay that was sold this week, $200 to $260 a ton. A lot of that actually priced us out of the stack. That's pretty popular. Needless to say, hay's still very expensive. Lamb slaughter on the week, 35,000 head through Saturday. That's an increase of 1,000 head from last week and an increase of 3,000 from last year. Year-to-date lamb slaughter, 301,000. That's up 8.3%, or about 23,000 head ahead of where it was a year ago. So, like we were talking about before, we're killing a lot more lambs, but we're not sending it to cold storage. We're sending this into the consumer chain, so that's very good to see. Live lamb weights, 131 pounds live, an increase of 2 pounds from last week, down 4 pounds from last year. Dressed lambs on the rail, 67 pounds, up 1 pound from last week, down a pound from last year. Let's break down your regional price reports. Wool lambs, 20 to 40 pounds, 3 to 380 a hundredweight, 40 to 70 pounds, 148 to 257.50, 70 pounds and up, 148 to 265 a hundredweight. On the hair lambs, 20 to 40 pounds, 227.50 to $326 a hundredweight, 40 to 70 pound hair lambs, 195 to 330 a hundredweight, 70 pounds and up, 120 to $300 a hundredweight. Over on the wool ewes, on the stocker ewes, $185 to $250 a head, slaughter ewes, $42 to $130 a hundredweight, hair rams, $52 to $155 a hundredweight. Over on the hair ewes, replacement quality ewes, $135 to $225 a head. Slaughter ewes, $80 to $130 a head. Hair rams, $110 to $200 a hundredweight. On the kid goats, 20 to 40 pounds, $230 to $450 a hundredweight. 40 to 70 pounders, $269 to $460 a hundredweight. 70 pounds and up, $240 to $350 a hundredweight. On the big wethers, 70 pounds and up, $250 to $285 a hundredweight. Back over to the slaughtered does, medium and fleshy cull does, $130 to $270 a head. The replacement quality does, $135 to $280 a head. And on the slaughter bucks, $175 to $265 a hundredweight. Breeding bucks, thin test of those. Just saw a few notes out of Texas on it, so take it for what it is. Breeding bucks, so $250 to $290 a hundredweight. And that's a look to the Midwest Sheep and Goat Market Report on the Rural Radio Network. Whether you're listening online, going to the website, finding it on social media, or you're listening on Spotify, I appreciate you taking the time. Have a great day.